All right, let's just get through this. Look, we had to know it was coming. All right. The latest episode of Doctor Who, The Fugitive of Judoon, which I would have thought would be The Fugitive from Judoon because the Judoon are after the Fugitive, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, the Fugitive of Judoon. And so, the Judoon will be showing up. Yeah, they made their appearance and they do what they do, and it's the same thing over and over again. Yeah, they're not. I mean, they look funny and everything, and they are kind of silly, but for the most part, you're gonna get pretty much the same thing out of them. So, but anyway, I had them on hand, so here they are, and they're largely a device that you can use for this sort of thing. So I guess it sort of works out that way. And actually, I'm watching it and I'm thinking, well, this might actually turn into a good one as far as this version of Doctor Who can do. At the get-go, the beginning, we're introduced to a woman who, right off the bat, she's very special. Oh, yes. Yes, she is. Oh, God. We're introduced to Ruth, and apparently she's this tour guide, I guess, and it's her birthday. And her husband, well, he forgot to get her a birthday cake. So she goes off to work, and then he's got to get the cake. Well, meanwhile, the doctor is in the TARDIS with her fam, and she's a little upset, and she's still, she's upset about what happened to Gallifrey. Yeah, it's dead again. Yeah, it's dead again because, there's no ideas. And she's looking for the master to try to figure out what the hell's going on here. And then she gets a red alert from the Judoon, because, that happens. And the Judoon are looking for a fugitive on planet Earth. Well, it turns out, or at least it appears, that Ruth's husband is an alien in disguise and is the fugitive and has some sort of object that the Judoon need to get their hands on or what have you. And the doctor shows up and gets involved. And Ruth is like, oh my God, what's going on? She had no idea her husband could be involved in something like that. And, oh God. So, there's a twist. Yeah, it's her husband isn't the alien. No, he's just watching out for his wife because, he's a loyal companion. Yes, the wife is actually the alien, but she doesn't know it. She has a bit of amnesia. Gee, sound familiar? Yeah. So the doctor's trying to figure out what's going on here, and Ruth starts having flashes of memories of a lighthouse or some such, and she decides, hey, let's go there. And she says, yeah, my parents are buried there. So they go there, and oh boy, Ruth discovers this little object, not unlike a pocket watch in a previous episode. Yeah. So at this point, say, she's a Time Lord, or could she be another incarnation of River Song? Did River Song figure out how to to do? No, but she is a Time Lord. Oh yes, she is. Meanwhile, the doctor gets distracted by a gravestone outside, and she's like, well, why only one headstone? Unless, of course, it's not a grave. Well, it sort of is. As she digs it up, there's something glowing in there. It's the TARDIS. Yeah, you guessed it. Ruth is the doctor. Oh, you mean the doctor's already meeting the future doctor, that they're going to regenerate Jodie into this actress? And might as well at this point, No. Come on, No, she's the original doctor. With memories being blocked and forgotten and amnesia and whatnot, hey, it just goes to show that the doctor just forgot she used to be this rather large black woman. Yes, the original doctor was Ruth. And so Ruth is the fugitive, And another Time Lord has hired the Judoon to track down this fugitive from Gallifrey. Gee, that sounds familiar. And they're kind of old adversaries. And, oh boy, well, this other Time Lord that's hired the Judoon to go after the real Doctor is called Gat. And look, I assumed that Gat would be revealed to have been the original master or mistress at this point, and then we're going to learn that her name was Gat. Yeah, but then this Doctor's a bit brutal and violent, and ends up tricking Gat into killing herself, or it was a ruse, and Gat was merely, I don't know, teleported somewhere, something like that, perhaps. But yeah, I don't know. The original Doctor takes Jodie Doctor and dumps her back on Earth and leaves. And the companions reunite to inform her of something that happened elsewhere in the show that ordinarily would have been a cool event for Doctor Who fans, because guess who else besides the Judoon that showed up? Yes, Captain Jack. Wow, that sounds exciting. What did Captain Jack do? Not a whole lot. He stood around in a pretty bad set. Made out with Graham. Well, not exactly, but you know, and kind of laughed at the thought that the Doctor's now a woman, saying, "Oh man, I got to see this." Yeah, wouldn't that be funny? You're not gonna get it. So he's only there to warn the Doctor that there's this nasty Cyberman, just one, out for revenge for the loss of the Cyberman Empire. So how about that, huh? Maybe it's disguised as a Time Lord and calling itself the Doctor. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. The funny thing is, as the opening parts, like I said, I thought maybe they got a good one here. There's a little mystery going on here. And at first I thought, because I'd already heard, the rumor had leaked that Jack Harkness would be on the show, and I thought, he's the fugitive, and it's like, no, he's not, and I thought, did he disguise himself as, no, he's just there to just be there and say, hey, it's me, Captain Jack, how about that, huh, bye, and that was it. It was so bad. And then, so the companions are meeting Captain Jack and, looking dumbfounded and stuff, because that's really all they're there for. And then they get beamed back to Earth, and then they catch up with the Doctor and say, hey, what happened? And then the Doctor, Ruth was the fugitive, and Ruth was me. No, really, what happened? Oh, God. So, yeah, so there they go. You knew they were going to rewrite Doctor Who canon. And, of course, I should have known it would be this sloppy and stupid, rather than just have some sort of, mystical scenes that seem to suggest that the Doctor had been a woman in the distant past and all this sort of stuff. And just somehow forgot about that. And then, they would have it like that and say, ha ha, and if you don't like it, you're a misogynist, and there you go, because that's all they got. That's all they got. There seemed to be something of a framework of a story here, but then there just wasn't, because they don't have anything. So yeah, all right. So she finds the TARDIS buried there and all that. So and it's a police box. Yeah. Do you see the problem with that? This is reminding me somewhat of Star Trek Picard, where plus there were two things, because when Ruth suddenly starts to remember herself, suddenly she's a karate badass or what have you, and beats the crap out of the Judoon and takes their weapons away and shoots a bunch of them, stuff like that. This was reminiscent of the Data's daughter character in the Star Trek Picard. Although Star Trek Picard did it way better, but both characters are suddenly activated to their truth selves and all this sort of thing. But the other thing was that both shows have no idea of the actual character and history of the franchise they're dealing with. they know some names and some images and whatnot, but that's about it. And so the things begin to fall apart. Now Picard is only one episode, so maybe we'll see more that actually they did a little better on that, and we'll see. But for Doctor Who, right off the bat, this doesn't work very well, because I'm all but certain they're not just saying this is a joke, or there's possibly they could do a follow-up episode that shows that this is an alternate timeline Doctor. This is the Doctor's mother who inspired the Doctor, and now she realizes what made her come to this conclusion, all that stuff. Maybe, but I'm dubious of that. Alternate timeline could be a way out, or, parallel universe thing, or something along those lines. But I don't think so. I think they're bound and determined to do some crap like this. But here's the problem. The TARDIS is a police box. It didn't become a police box until it landed in that junkyard where the Doctor and Susan stayed when she went to school and met Ian and Barbara, her teachers, and they came to find her, and there she was living with the Doctor in a police box. Okay, they struggle and fight, and Susan's wanting to leave the Doctor. She wants to stay there at school and everything, and the Doctor sets the TARDIS on a course, and they accidentally go back in time to the caveman days and have their first little adventure there, And but before they leave the TARDIS to embark on this caveman adventure, Susan remarks that, it's still a police box. Yes, it's because up to that point, it had been anything because of the chameleon circuit, which allows the TARDIS to assume the appearance of any other object to make it indistinguishable from its environment. So you'd best remember what it turns into so you can find your way back to it. But in that point, it would have been a tree or a rock or something like that. But the chameleon circuit had damaged, and so it got stuck as the police box, and that's how it got stuck that way ever since. That's within the narrative of the story. That's canon. So now you got to go back and make up some bullshit where it happened twice to perhaps even another TARDIS entirely. I don't know. And somehow this series of events subliminally influenced the Doctor in his later incarnation of the William Hartnell. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Moffat knew this was going to happen. He tried to prevent this with Twice Upon a Time, where you had the plot where Capaldi's Doctor has had it. He can't take it anymore. He doesn't want to regenerate. He meets his original incarnation. Yes, Hartnell was the original incarnation. He meets him at the moment he's about to regenerate for the first time into the second Doctor, the Troughton Doctor. And both doctors don't want to do it. Capaldi, because he's had enough of it. He's complaining, I can't go on becoming other people. And then the Hartnell Doctor doesn't want to do it because he's scared. Because why? Because he's never done it before. He doesn't want to lose himself. He doesn't know what he'll become. It's frightening to him. It's brand new. He doesn't understand, or doesn't know what's coming. That's the whole point of that episode. Completely destroyed now by this, because now it's just going to say, well, it had happened before, but he just forgot. I mean, he had amnesia. His consciousness was in a pocket watch somewhere. No. Oh, God. So bad. But you knew it was coming. And plus the big plot hole of the police box, because you would have to just throw some stupid little, another bit of forgetfulness or whatever. This influenced the event. So somehow the Doctor deliberately made his TARDIS become a police box because he had already been in one that looked like a police box. Oh, God. But, of course, any complaint, you can't point out details like this and knowledge of this 50-plus show, year-old show, because if you do, you're a misogynist, and in this case, you're a racist, because this original Doctor character is black as well. So there you go, which also begs the question, I guess Doctor Who is racist, because how come this woman isn't the Doctor now, and why is Jodie the Doctor? See how that works? You want to make that bed, you will lie in it. So anyway, there you are. I knew it was coming, and I guess this is it. There was no mention of the timeless child. I guess we'll get into that later. Bringing it together to clarify what exactly happened. There is still a possibility that, it was just a mistake and it baffled the doctor or what have you, but I don't know. Now, some of this was attempted some time ago. Apparently one of the writers during Sylvester McCoy's run, but it had this idea, because they were approaching this idea that there was a mystery about the doctor and his origins and all that stuff, and they were going to explore that within there, that the doctor was more than just a Time Lord. And I believe, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the man's name. Perhaps someone in the comments can fill this in, but he had this, and I believe he did it in a novel. Oh God, I'm forgetting the name now. Damn, this is terrible. Basically, the point was that the Time Lord Society had been founded by a triumvirate of 3 Time Lords, that being Rassilon, of course, Omega, and the mysterious Other. The Other. Long story short, Rassilon's power mad. He kind of swindled Omega into his little accident that got him stuck in the antimatter universe. The Other is disgusted by all of this and throws him herself. We don't really know. I think it was a male in that version of the story. But anyway, the Other throws himself into the looms, which suggests that Time Lords, they don't reproduce through sex. They just have these looms that generate people. And so as a result of doing this, the DNA of the Other is reconstituted in an entity who becomes the Time Lord, who will eventually take on the name the Doctor. So through that series of events, they could have utilized that and said, well, the Other had been a woman and eventually became this other entity. And so there you go. Oh, look, it was originally a woman. I thought at some point they might even suggest that the Doctor had originally been from the Sisterhood of Karn, because that's another element of this story, was that the Time Lords had been dominated by the Pythian Society, and then Rassilon's group or whatever overthrew that, and the Pythians went off to become the Sisterhood of Karn. Now, if you're going to say that the matriarchal sisterhood is better than the patriarchal Time Lord Society, which it really isn't a patriarchal Time Lord Society, it's far more diverse because there's Time Lords and Time Ladies. Whereas Sisterhood of Karn, hey, there's no Brotherhood of Karn. But I don't know. Do they even know about the Sisterhood of Karn at this point? I guess they'll get to it. Maybe not. As far as who the timeless child is and all that, doesn't really matter. Oh God. So I don't even, maybe that's how they'll link it up before this is all said and done. But oh God, this is stupid. Just when it started to look like, hey, this might be a good one. Who knew? No. Oh, no. They fixed that, didn't they? So yeah, nothing matters. Don't care. The one thing I will say about this other Doctor's TARDIS, a far superior control room. That was a much better than that piece of crap that Jodie flies around in. So it's too bad they couldn't switch. But yeah, that's about it. The Judoon were kind of funny. This guy in the bakery shop was who was jealous of the Doctor's husband. That was almost kind of funny. But oh God, it was so bad, so very, very bad. Well, how bad can it be? Well, we'll find out next week, won't we? I don't know if I can keep doing this. I mean, so now it's down to, hey, maybe Chibnall will come through and say, nah, I was just fooling. This is your only hope at this point. Oh, God, it's over. It's over, What are you going to do? Well, that's enough of this, huh? Thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe and check out the link description below. That'll Take it to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Like, hey, how about that Night comic book over at IndiePlanet.com? Yeah, that'll be cool. And how about getting yourself some t-shirts? I could think of a few you could get right now. Oh, yeah. And check out my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. New episodes every Saturday. And, of course, you can watch videos like these over at BitChute. That's right, Mr Nailsin channel at BitChute.com.